Hi, it's Dave Lorenzo. Welcome to the Do This Sell More show here on YouTube. This is my channel, the Dave Lorenzo Daily. You can find me here every day delivering a great new sales tip to you. But every Thursday, we come to you with a brand new interview with someone who has delivered value to the world and to their clients and is absolutely killing it from a relationship-based sales perspective. That's right. We're focusing on people who are actually getting it done every day, and they're going to give you the best tips they've got to grow your business with relationships. So if you want to make more money and get home on time for dinner every night, make sure you're here every Thursday on YouTube on the Dave Lorenzo Daily. That's my channel. Every Thursday, we're here with a brand new interview, and these people are giving you the goods. I won't let them off the hook until they give us at least one thing you can use to do this and sell more. That's the name of the show. Look for it right here every Thursday. And now, here's this week's show. This is the Do This Sell More show. I'm your host, Dave Lorenzo, and today it is my honor to welcome Mr. Lou Diamond to the show. Let me tell you a little bit about Lou, and I'm going to read it so that I don't miss out on anything that's critically important. Lou Diamond is the master connector. He has over a quarter of a century of experience in sales, relationship management, business development, and executive mentoring. He's an international keynote speaker. He's a consultant. He consults on leadership and performance, and he mentors people on the same. He's a best-selling author. He has a podcast, and he's also a TV host and the CEO of Thrive. Now, that's a company focused on marketing the most amazing people, businesses, and brands, and he helps them become even more amazing through the power of connecting. Welcome to the show, Mr. Lou Diamond.
Dave Lorenzo, absolutely an honor to be here, so much so that I broke out the cowboy hat.
Oh, fantastic. So, Lou, I love the art of connecting. Can you give the folks who are listening, and the people who are listening are probably, I would say they're independent professionals, they're folks who are in B2B sales. So talk about connecting and tell us how that's helped you in your career.
To simply put it, I think, as you mentioned the name of the company, something magical happens when you have a connection with someone. You truly, as I like to say, thrive, and you can't thrive unless you connect. And so many people don't actually know exactly how to connect. We live in a world today, Dave, where we have so much screen time. It's affecting not only our eyes, but our souls. Yeah. And everyone is craving connection. And it turns out that what I've always been about is that we actually have muscles, I'm putting that in quotes here, that are how you need to be a better connector, whether it's yourself as an individual trying to connect, if it's a sales or maybe you're trying to get a job interview or connect yourself or connect your message to raise money or funds to get your story out. If you're a leader, to connect with the people that work in your organization. And if you're a company and you want your message to connect with your end audience. There are skills that you can work on that I call your connecting core that you can actually learn and coach and work on every single day to help develop those skills to connect better.
All right. So give us an example of some of the skills and tell us what we can do to improve them.
Let's start out with one of my favorite ones, which is really simple. One of the muscles is the power of empathy. Okay. Too often, and if you've seen this, some people come in with a capabilities presentation about their company and all the great things that they can do, what I'm great at, what my company does. I always love that thing, Dave, where people show the logo slide. They lead with, here are all the great companies that we have worked with that aren't you. And at the end of the day, the only person that matters in the room is the person that you're pitching and connecting to. I love to make the expression that we are never in the business of selling. I know this is the Strategic Sales Academy and do this, sell more. But the reality is the most effective way to sell is to help somebody buy. And to do that, we need to stand in the shoes of another, to see things from their world so that we understand as a partner with that potential partner, how we can help them, not how you're going to help yourself. So a lot of that is the way that we listen. We do this by asking great questions. We do this by truly seeing things from their point of view. That's actually called listening level 2, which is a focused listening that nothing else matters but the partner that you're working with. So the ability to get out of your own ego and jump in and step in and sell from a point of view where you're helping them to buy. That is a key muscle and the power of empathy that I work on. I'm one of the many other ones that are out there in the Connecting Core. Helpful?
Fantastic. So we're talking with Lou Diamond. Lou is the master connector, and Lou is helping us make connections in a way that are absolutely real. And one of the things, Lou, that I focus on with my clients is relationship development. So help our listeners, help me with developing relationships. How do we get started? So, you know, in a sales environment, right? People are always going to be skeptical, and they put up that wall, they put up that barrier. So I want to be empathetic. I want to connect. Tell me how I can do that at the outset when they know I'm there and they know I make my money by selling a product or a service.
I think the most important way to start out is simply put, and I started to say this, to ask great questions. If you're looking to find out what somebody does or what their business does, you really understand, hey, listen, we're in the world of helping people from a marketing perspective. We have a technology offering. What I want to understand right now is the current world that you have. So let's say let's say you're trying to offer a technology solution that's going to help someone's business. Let's understand what their business is about and what their goals are first. Ask them those questions. Hey, what are you trying to get this year? It's the beginning of the year that we're recording this. What are we looking for our goals for this year? Were you happy with what you had from last year? What's been keeping you up at night? What are the things that you need the most help with? And let me see if I can help you in that area. Here's the most important part. If you start having a conversation with someone and they're not letting you in and they're not opening up, well, first of all, physically start opening up. When you want to connect with someone, you got to let yourself open and be like this, like physically, if you can see me here, open to the person that you're connecting to. If they're reserved and being like this, there's actually a mirroring reaction that you're looking for. And what you want to try to do is to get them to open up a little too, because that's where connection begins. If they're not willing to do this, this is important. Some people aren't ready to connect. And you have to approach them at a time that is the most appropriate for them to do it. Trying to make a connection, let's say in a big trade hall, in a conference center or a trade show, is a very challenging thing to do. So Dave, I like to think of it as what's the most appropriate situation that they like to connect in. Get them comfortable. It might not be your comfort zone, but find out where they're the most comfortable and where they feel open to share so that you can understand what their world is about.
All right, great advice. We're speaking with Lou Diamond. He's the master connector, and the name of his company is Thrive. Lou, tell me, is there anything, what's the one thing I shouldn't do? What's the critical mistake I shouldn't make when I'm looking to connect?
So I want to make this clear. And for those that are going to conferences or trade shows and they've got a stack of business cards this high, and you're so tempted to give out these business cards, I want to make this clear. If you lead by giving out your business card, you are not connecting. You might be networking or following up in some way, but if you start to give someone something because you feel you need to give that to them, the only reason you should ever give your information is because you've connected with someone and that person asks for it. That's asking permission, where they say, what's the best way for me to get in contact with you? And you know when this logical point happens. How often have you ever come to a situation, somebody meets you and the first thing they say, here, take my card? Nobody wants to take a card. I don't want it. I don't want to throw it right in the garbage. I want to know why I'd be taking that card. What is the world that you're going to do this? If someone says, listen, I really want to follow up with you, I want to learn more, Lou, what's the best way for us to get in contact? Now, until you've made that connection, that's when you have the permission to go do so. So a great taboo thing that you should avoid, if you come home from a trade show, a networking meeting, an opportunity to promote your own business with 50 business cards, you really should be questioning the amount that you got. But if you have the ones that you received that really were the people that you followed up with, take a pen, write down on the card that specific item that you did. A good colleague of mine, David Newman, who's been in the business for a long time, David and I had this piece where we met at a trade show and a conference. I think it was actually a conference in Dallas. And the first thing he did was he says, can I have your card? And he wrote down specifically the reason he wanted to follow up with me. And when he got back to me, he did something amazing. He did one of those video bomb things where he sent a message and he's reading the card. He goes, I remembered this conversation. I wanted to get a face-to-face to continue our conversation. What makes the most sense for you? great way to connect with another individual.
Fantastic. Excellent advice. Lou Diamond is the master connector. His website is Thrive Loud, altogether, ThriveLoud.com. I'm going to put the link in the show notes to his website. I'll also put a link to his book on the website, in the show notes, and on YouTube. If you're watching this on YouTube, when Lou said you have to have open body language, he was talking about having your arms spread at a normal distance, not standing at attention like a soldier. And when he said that your body language was more guarded, he had his arms crossed in front of him as if he was cold and he was shivering. That's what you don't want. So Lou, tell me about prospecting in in your system and in what you teach. How do you teach your clients? Because I know you work with a lot of clients. You work with big businesses. Tell me how you teach people to go out and prospect without coming across, from a standpoint of being empathetic, from a standpoint of wanting to develop a relationship. How do they prospect? I mean, is it just cold calling, but they do it in a different way? What advice do you give people when it comes to prospecting?
I think it's very important to remember that the most successful people are the ones that prepare the most. Okay. If you know you're going to an event and a trade show, get the list of the people that are coming to the event and identify and highlight the ones you want to see. If you have a target list of clients you want to go after, there's amazing resources out there from LinkedIn, the internet, everywhere you go, where you can research and get information ahead of time so that you can be as smart as you can and prepare. I love to say, Dave, everything that I'm about is either before the pitch as it relates to building that prospecting. What are the things you need to do before you ever walk into a room to pitch? In fact, the pitch should almost be a regular conversation that you've already partnered with them because you've done so much great connecting, strategizing, and follow through before you ever even got in the sales room with them. So as it relates to prospecting, you can't, take away, you need a little elbow grease and hard work. You got to do the work. It is a little bit of a numbers game like anything else. You're going to have to go after 10 prospects to get 1 or 2 real ones that are out there. Use effective messaging and something that's customized to the specific target you're going after. People are tired. I will say this, there's nothing more irritating. I don't have my phone here. I don't know where it went, but I was going to pick up my phone. Every morning I wake up, there's 7 or 8 LinkedIn cold call requests from me.
Right.
This is not connecting. And by the way, I find this almost a waste of time. And you might have a success rate, but you're not successfully going after those that need what you need. Getting a customized response from somebody is a true effort to understand what their needs are. I've just read this article about you on LinkedIn or in some place in business where you just had activity. We've done something similar with another organization. I'd love the opportunity to follow up with you. That message can't go to every single one. That's the effort you need to do to make sure that you customize as you prospect. And the reason I stress this is you can't come off as connecting if you're just blasting out and behaving in the way that you email, you market, even you phone call, picking up the calls. You have to have that specific customized response within the prospecting. It's extra work, but that level of preparation increases the likelihood that you're pitching and you're going to close more successfully.
Okay, fantastic. Great advice, Lou. So now let's shift to high net worth individuals, right? Mm-hmm. So if I'm a financial advisor and I'm established in my career, maybe I'm 15 or 20 years in and I'm doing well, I deepen my relationships with my clients and I got that down, but now I'm looking for bigger fish. I'm hunting for bigger game. Yeah. What do I do? Is it any different when I'm going after high net worth individuals versus individual product sales? Is the approach any different?
So in theory, no. But in the specifics of high net worth individuals, understand people like, I always like to say that, there's the analogy, think of the car that you want to, what's the image that you want to present of yourself? Think of it as a car. Are you the person driving the Mercedes? And that's what people want to aspire and attract to. So keep in mind that when you're dealing with high net worth individuals, coming up with, a beat up Chevy, that type of way that you dress, the way that you look. I forgot that we were going to be on camera today. That's why I came straight from the gym and put on a cowboy hat. But in the messaging of working with high net worth individuals, it is important to understand to put them in the comfort zone that they're most comfortable with. I like to do the research of these people. We have a lot of people who grew up traditionally, your suit and tie folks who have a certain brand of how it works for their financial matching and what they expect to see on the other end. If you're catering to that, you have to look like that. You have to act the part, you have to speak the part, and you have to know their business and how you can help with people. It's very difficult if the clients that you're working with are not in that space and you're trying to message that up to play in that space. And I know that it's a big challenge, but as you move your way up, you have to kind of figure out the ways that work to who you are and how to balance it. And once you're there and you're dealing with it, you're a very comfortable person to work with. And connecting is as similar as it is to every other level. It doesn't matter what your net worth is. It's just understanding specifically how you can help them on their needs.
Fantastic. Thank you, Lou. Tell me real quick, last question I have for you, and then we'll talk a little bit about you and what you have going on. Tell me about you and how you're comfortable when somebody pitches you or when somebody sells you. How do you like people to approach you with new ideas or new products or new services?
In the same way that I want them asking me as many questions as possible. I want them to step into my shoes and see things from my perspective. And most importantly, not flip it back and have them tell me, well, let me tell you what I'm doing. There's nothing more distasteful in that piece. I'm like, well, I'm not you. Tell me how you could step into my shoes and know what I'm about. And so by doing that, asking the right questions, where am I right now? What are my current needs and problems? Help me buy is really what I'm looking for. And those that do that well understand my goals and my immediate aspirations for what I'm trying to get to, and if they can solve the problem. The best sales technique I'd ever seen in my life for someone trying to connect with me was they heard where I was at and there wasn't exactly a match. And the best thing that individual said is, I'm not at that stage with you right now. I can't help you here. Here's who can. And here's the best part. I have probably recommended more people to that individual who did not take on my business because they knew they couldn't help me at that time. That is truly understanding who your customer is. I love the expression, Dave, get to know faster. If you're working with somebody and you recognize right away that it's not going to happen, get to know and say, listen, this is not, or no, or not yet. I'm not there yet with you. I'm not going to be able to be the one to help you. But when you get to this part, I'm your man. I'm your woman. I'm the person who's going to be able to help you at that stage.
That's fantastic. Great advice. Get to know faster. I love that. All right, Lou. So tell us now about you. Tell us how we can help you. First, tell us about the book. Where can people get the book? And then tell us about your company and your speaking.
So if you want to get the book, learn about speaking, you could either go to loudiamond.net or to thriveloud.com, either one. The book is Master the Art of Connecting. We have links on all of that. It sells on Amazon. It's been a bestseller. It continues to come out. We're actually coming out with the audiobook later this year. And there are 2 more books coming out within the near future towards the end of the year. Be on the lookout for Before the Pitch. That's coming out probably in the fall. As for me speaking, go to loudiamond.net. You can get all the information, videos, me speaking, working with you. If you're looking to figure out all the things you need to do to prepare your sales team, to prepare your organization, I come in, I speak to companies, organizations, and trade shows. I do this big conversation, Dave, about connect working, which is to kick off a lot of these large trade shows on how you need to be at the trade show so that you can maximize that event the most. It's a nice kickoff for all the conferences that you go to and helping people to maximize their time there so they can connect with the right people in that environment when they're there.
So that's something that that a company would bring you in to do before they had folks going out to a trade show, right?
Well, or to kick it off. You know, it's very difficult.
To start the event. Okay.
To start the event, hey, you've got this incredible roster of events to do. Let me tell you how you're going to maximize this trade show. The best way for you to behave when you're there. And it's a great way you've come to the event, you want to make it the most useful for yourself. This is the best way to utilize it that way. The other thing I guess we can promote, if you go to Thrive Loud, you could also go to another show, which I'm sure one day we'll have the Dave Lorenzo on thriveloud.com to check it out. Another fun show to learn how people are thriving in their lives, their businesses, and their passions through the power of connecting.
All right, so it's loudiamond.net and thriveloud.com, thriveloud.com, thriveloud.com. For all things Lou Diamond, he's the master connector. He gave us just a few minutes of fantastic advice here. If you go to his website or you book him to speak, I'm sure you will get a fire hose of advice. It'll just come out all over you like drinking from a fire hose. Lou Diamond, the Master Connector, I am deeply appreciative for you being on the show. Thank you for giving us your time today. This is the Do This, Sell More show, and Lou gave us so much that you can do and sell more. I look forward to seeing you right back here next week. I'm Dave Lorenzo, and between now and then, make sure you do this and sell more.